Back with another one. It's your boy Hunted of the Rappreneur, and today we're going to be diving into part 2 of the differences between a non-exclusive and an exclusive licensing agreement. And in this video, we're going to be going deep into the exclusive side of licensing, the things you need to know, things you may not have known. And we're really just going to dive in. We're going to get right to it. Again, it's a Hunted of the Rappreneur, and this is part 2 of the things you need to know about licensing.
All right, you guys, welcome back to part 2 of the 2 things you need to know about online beat licensing mini video course. And today we're going to be talking about exclusive rights. So let's get right into it. All right, so exclusive rights agreements are generally going to be for your more established artists. Now, everybody has to go through their journey. Everybody has to start somewhere. But generally, once you get to a point in your career where you're profiting, you're making money, you know how to monetize your career and your music, that's when you want to get to a point where you want to start looking more into exclusive rights and exclusive agreements. Otherwise, you're really going to want to start off, you know, downloading your beats. And then once you kind of establish your voice, kind of find yourself, then you want to start making some money off of your music. You can go ahead and start leasing your music, putting it out there, testing it out, seeing where you stand in the industry, where you stand as far as with your fan base, and kind of get an understanding of how you can generate profit and money from your career, monetize your career. And at that point is where you want to start looking into exclusively owning everything from then on forward. The benefits of this is really because there's no limitation. So this is why exclusive agreements are generally a little bit more expensive. You have unlimited rights to anything. You really can fully extort this beat to its full potential. There's no maximum number of streams, plays, sales, downloads, nothing. There's no expiration date on the contract. You can use the song in numerous projects, whether that's singles, albums, music videos, anything of that sort. Where generally when you're dealing with a non-exclusive license, you're usually limited to only one single project to use that beat on. Another thing is you have exclusive use rights. What that means is the producer can no longer sell that beat or license to other artists. So formerly, before you were purchasing those agreements, that beat may have been leased to several artists before you got those rights. Which is why most contracts would include a notice of outstanding clients, which is basically something saying that the other artists who have leased that beat prior to you getting the exclusive rights to it will still hold their licensing agreement, which I would say in my case is generally 1 year. It's a 1-year term on all of my licensing, and they would have to renew it. So generally after that 1 year, they no longer have the rights to distribute or use that beat. And since you have the exclusive use of it, you pretty much have the right to ask those artists to take that music down. Which is why I really recommend, you know, joining whoever or building relationships with these producers so that you kind of can get first pick on new instrumentals and new beats that they release, so that you can get the exclusive rights fairly quickly, as opposed to, you know, having to wait until it's out on the internet or anything like that. So those are really like the main differences between, you know, the non-exclusive license and an exclusive license. Like I say, there's no limitations to it, and you pretty much have the exclusive rights to use the beat, meaning the producer can't sell the beat to other artists anymore. Now, there are 2 very different exclusive agreements. There's exclusive use versus exclusive ownership. Versus exclusive ownership. And what the main difference here is that exclusive use, yeah, you own the beat to the fact to where the producer can't sell the beat to other artists, and you have full rights to do as many projects or get as many streams as you want with as you can with the music. But the producer still owns his portion of the beat, of the music, or of the copyright. And basically that's where we speak about ownership, exclusive ownership. And what that is where the producer has pretty much gave you all of his rights to the music, the composition, to his royalties of the music, and he has no ownership, and therefore everything that he got up front is all that he gets ever. And that very rarely happens because it's really against copyright laws, because essentially when you produce a beat or make a song, you already own that copyright the moment that you make it or that you print it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be price range. So usually exclusive licenses or agreements run you anywhere from $500 to about $10K on an independent level. Not saying that like major artists wouldn't be able to get exclusive rights for $5,000, but generally on the independent scale, if it's an independent producer, whether he's working with a major artist or independent artist, generally it's going to range from about $500 to $10K. Now, there are cases where you find producers who are selling beats for $100 exclusively or $300 exclusively. Fairly common in the online space. But most times when you have an independent producer dealing with a major artist, you're going to find that those prices tend to range around anywhere from, I'll say, about $1,500 to about $10K. And when you're dealing with a more established producer, those exclusive rights tend to start at $10K, and they can go all the way up to $100,000. All right, so now we're going to speak on that notice of outstanding clients. And what that notice of outstanding clients does is basically it protects the previous licensees from getting a strike by exclusive buyers. So basically, while they're still within that contract, while they're still within their term on their lease, then they're pretty much protected to continue to be able to make sales and profit from that beat until that term is up. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be royalties. Because once you start making exclusive agreements and things, there should be an understanding between the producer and the artist or the label of what royalties are going to be shared between the two. All right, so there are basically two different types of royalties. We got mechanical royalties and we got performance royalties. Mechanical royalties are generally what you would generate when you physically or digitally reproduce or distribute a song. That's talking about like the hard copy physical CDs or digital sales like iTunes. And this also includes the streams, which is like Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Play or something of that sort. And the next part we're going to talk about is going to be the performance royalties. Performance royalties are when your song is performed publicly. Basically, when your music is on the radio, performed live, or streamed on like a TV show or something like that. In most cases, the artist usually keeps about 100% of the mechanical royalties in exchange for the price they pay for the license. Most distribution services like CD Baby or TuneCore, DistroKid pay the mechanical royalties directly to the artist when they sign up on their platforms. That's really just if the artist is independent. Usually when the artist is signed to a label, the label will usually collect the mechanical royalties and might choose to pay a percentage of it to the artist, which is why you see a lot of artists complaining about how they getting millions of streams and only making a few $1,000s. So the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be an advance against mechanical royalties, which you find in most exclusive agreement. And generally, in most cases, what this is when when the producer is paid in advance up front, but still wants to collect royalties later on in the future. And in most cases nowadays, this is becoming more and more popular because what happens is you pay the producer up front, and then as the song starts collecting thousands and thousands or millions of views, the producer is still collecting a small percentage of this. This is where you hear them talk about the terms like points or producer royalties. So generally 1 point is really 1% of of the mechanical royalties. And that's pretty much everything that we're going to talk about today about exclusive licensing. In the next video, we're going to go over how you can determine where you kind of fit in this exclusive versus non-exclusive discussion. So you're going to have some questions that you're going to want to ask yourself to see exactly and honestly answer to yourself where you stand in your career and whether you should be purchasing exclusively or non-exclusive. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, so that was the end of part 2. I really hope that you found value in that video. If you did, let me know what you think. How are you feeling about non-exclusive versus exclusive licensing? Are you feeling like you're more on the non-exclusive side right now, or are you ready to kind of jump over into the exclusive side? Don't worry, if you're not sure just quite yet, we're gonna go into part 3 of the video, which we're gonna talk about that exact thing right there. So be sure to check that out, coming up next.